Hey there, folks. This is Gypsy Spirit with you, having coffee. Thank you for joining me. I want to tell you a story about my son. I have a 26-year-old son, and he's never left home. But we're in a situation now where we're like roommates. But we're also a little like Sanford and Son. I'm almost 64 years old, and I try to tell him things and you know, when I was 26, I thought I knew everything too. And so I try to tell him things, and for the most part, he doesn't really listen to me. And that's okay. I just figure he'll figure it out on his own. But anyway, he likes to eat, and he eats a lot. So we split all the bills, like we share the rent. He pays his half, I pay my half. I pay the water bill, he pays the electric bill. He pays all the internet and all the cable and all the Hulu and Netflix and all that. He pays all that. I pay for the car insurance and any upkeep I have to do on the car. We do split the gas. 1 week he'll fill up, and when it needs to be filled up again, I'll fill up. So, pretty good on that. I do all the cooking because I love to cook. He does not like to cook. And I do most of the cleaning in the kitchen. He will empty the dishwasher and clean the kitchen on his days off. He has a full-time job. So, that's okay. I'm okay with that. So, but he likes to eat, and we share the groceries. Well, we were sharing the groceries. Like, I'll buy all the groceries, and he'll, if the bill is $100, and he'll give me $50, right? And I like to buy groceries at Costco, and he loves the chicken sausages. Like they have the Adele's chicken and apple sausage is real good, and then he likes the Kirkland brand, where it's chicken sausage that's seasoned with pepper and I don't know, other things as well, and they're good. And he likes to eat those. He likes to eat bratwurst too, and so he's a total meat eater. And but he'll eat vegetables and things like that if I cook it, but he's not gonna cook it. So, ever since he was a child, he's always eaten up everything. And as he's gotten older, I tried to talk to him about it. Like, you got to save some for everybody else. And so we've had a couple of incidences before in the past where he ate up all the food. I'd go to look to get myself something, since some of it is mine too, since I helped pay for it, and it's all gone. I get all pissed off. I'm like, man, I wanted some of that. Well, about a month ago, I had bought some of those sausages, the Kirkland sausages. There was 16. It was 16 to a pack. And it was 6 o'clock in the morning, which I normally don't get up at 6 in the morning, but for some reason I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to fix me an omelet, and I'm going to chop up some of that sausage and some bell pepper and onion and all the other vegetables. I'm going to have a great omelet. I'm going to make me some grits. So I go into the 6 o'clock in the morning now. I go in, and I'm looking, get the eggs out, get everything out, and I go to look for the sausage. There's no sausage. I look in the freezer because I put some of it in the freezer. There's no sausage in the freezer. And I'm like, I know that we'd only had him for like maybe a week and a half. And I'm like, I know that he did not eat all the sausage. I had 2 since I bought them, but I'm like, there's no way. I'm just telling myself. So I'm looking all over. Our refrigerator and freezer is only so big, and I couldn't find them. So I go and I knock on his door around 6:30 or so, and wake him up. I'm like, do you know what happened to that sausage? And he said, I ate it. He ate 14 sausages within a week and a half. I was livid. I was so mad. I was so mad. Oh God, I was mad. Well, I fixed my food, and normally I will make, if I fix breakfast and he's not up or he's not ready for breakfast, I'll save a little for him, you know. I didn't save any for him. I was that pissed off. But when he woke up, I had a talk with him, and I said, it's time for you to start buying your own groceries. Because, you know, if he had a roommate and he did that shit, they wouldn't be roommates for very long. And he got real mad. He got so mad. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say any more. I just said, you're going to have to start buying your own groceries now. And about an hour later, he comes out and he says, so I guess that means I have to cook for myself too, huh? I said, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. He got real mad. Well, that day, I'll never forget. It was on a Saturday, and I just was so upset. I had gotten so upset that I just did absolutely nothing all day long. I sat out here on my back porch and just sat and looked at the pond and watched the birds and everything. And I did talk to my sister-in-law that lives in Mississippi for about an hour and a half, but that was it. And so the next day, I had a little time to calm down. I guess he did too. And I offered to take him to Sonic's so that he could get something to eat. Because he doesn't drive. And he's working on it. I mean, he's had issues with his eyes. He was born with cataracts. So for the longest time, I mean, he's had so many surgeries, I can't tell you, on his eyes. And he hasn't been able to drive, but now he is getting surgeries. He's getting new lens implants, and he's going to be able to drive. Like, he's already looking to get his driver's license this year, and eventually wants to get his pilot's license. So, you know, I hope that it all works out for him. And so he did tell me, you know, when we got home, after I took him to Sonic's, he put his arms around me and said that he was really sorry for getting so mad with me the day before. And then he said it was probably for the best. I was like, yeah, it is. So I had gone and got myself a few things from Costco for me, because now we're on this thing. And a week later, he asked me if I would take him to Costco on his day off, which was, I think, either Friday or Saturday. But anyway, he wanted to go to Costco. So I took him to Costco. And I got me a drink, and I sat down in a chair, a rocking chair or something out there at Costco, while he went and he did his shopping, and I just people watched. And I played my little games or whatever on the telephone. About 45 minutes later, he pulls up with his cart, and it's full of food. He's got grapes and bratwurst and these chicken cheese melts that I had bought once for us, because there's only 15 to a pack, and he ate them all. I got one, so I never bought them anymore. And I have taught him to buy everything. Whatever you buy at Costco, you gotta wait for it to go on sale. And I always have done that. I mean, there's some things that we buy, just whether it's on sale or not, we buy it. But for the most part, everything has to be on sale. So he got that, and he got some pot stickers, and he got some turkey burgers, and I mean, he just grapes and hummus and some snacks, and I mean, he went all out, and he spent $100. And we got home and everything, and it was all good. And I didn't know what to think about that. I really didn't. And so the next day, I was I have a landlord who, I don't know how to describe this person. In 2022, when I almost died, I was in the hospital 4 times with COVID, and I was after I got out of the hospital, I was on the mend. I had to go live somewhere else for about 2 months, and the day that I came home, 2 months later, I came home, and I was still so sick. I couldn't work. I didn't have any money. My landlord went up $300 on my rent. He wanted to go up $450. He wanted to raise it by $450. And long story, but anyway. So I've had a few problems. The dishwasher wasn't working properly, and then there was some electrical sockets or outlets that were not working. And I am learning that not to call him, but to just text his wife. But either one of them, they don't get to it right away. I mean, you're going to have to wait a little while before they actually get to it, depending on how serious it is, I guess, also. So I was trying to put dishes in the dishwasher, and they weren't working, and I just was feeling so irritable. And next thing I know, I'm breaking dishes. I'm like flipping the fuck out. Like flipping out, busting dishes, and screaming at the top of my lungs, saying all kinds of cuss words. And my son comes running out of his room, and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm so sick of this, sick of this place, sick of having to deal with a landlord and blah, 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 blah. And I mean, I just went batshit crazy. I haven't broken dishes since I broke up with my last boyfriend back in 2015, 10 years ago. So I broke up all the dishes and I cleaned them up, and I just went into my bedroom and watched TV for the rest of the day until I fell asleep. And the next day I got up, I was calm. I went to the coffee shop, got my coffee, and as I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, I realized what I was so upset about. Y'all gonna laugh at this. I was pissed that my son went and bought his own groceries. I know, right? I mean, I was the one that told him that he had to buy his own groceries, and he did a really good job. And I was so mad, and I couldn't why am I so mad about him buying his own? I told him that that's how it was going to be. Why am I so pissed? And all of a sudden, I realized that there's change coming to my life. He will be moving out soon. It won't be long. And I was like, I get it. And I don't like change. I hate change. I wasn't mad about the landlord. I wasn't mad about the place that I live, because I actually love my apartment. I'm not crazy about my neighbors, but I do love my apartment. I wasn't mad about that. I was upset because I know that change is coming. And that was the same reason when I broke all the dishes 10 years ago with the ex-boyfriend, because there was change. I had grown accustomed to him, was in a little comfort zone with him. And for weeks, months, the universe kept trying to tell me that there was going to be some change, and I was not going to be with this person. And I just kept blowing it off and blowing it off. And when he did some things that definitely made it obvious that we weren't going to be together. That is when I broke dishes. I didn't just break dishes. I broke all the antiques, everything that I could get my hands on. He came home and there was glass and everything everywhere. So I didn't get that extreme this time. I just broke a few dishes, maybe about 10. So anyway, I had to come home because I had to take Noah to work. And as I was getting in my car, I felt universe telling me, okay, it's time for you to tell him that he needs to get his own place. And he got in the car, and I apologized to him for flipping out the day before, but I also told him, I said, I think it's time for you to get your own place. I'm not telling you have to move out tomorrow or next week, but I think by the first of the year we need to start making plans for you to move, because by then you'll have his driver's license and everything. So anyway, so I'm going somewhere with this, and I appreciate you so much for hanging out with me and listening to this story, because it's just been on my heart so much. And I couldn't figure out, why the hell is all this happening? What's going on in my life right now? For me to just all this going on. Well, when I was a little girl, well, not a little girl, I was about 13, I decided that I wanted to study Hinduism. I lived here in Charleston, South Carolina, and at the time it was some little dink town, and it was a Christian town. And my sweet stepfather, he was from Oklahoma. He grew up out in the country on a farm. And Oklahoma, very, very Christian family. So when I gave him the news, he and my mom the news, that I wanted to start studying or getting into Hinduism, he took a Bible and threw it at me and said, if you want to get into something, get into this. And about a month later, I got saved. I somehow ended up in this church in my neighborhood, and I got saved, and I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And I slipped away when I got later up in my teens and into my 20s. And I had a boyfriend. I was in my 30s early 30s at this point. I was up in Washington, D.C., and I was going to college. And I was studying, I majored in religion and minored in psychology. And so I had to take a world religion course where I studied about all the different religions: Buddhism, Christianity, Taoism, Hinduism, and all that. And so when we got to Hinduism, we had to study about Shiva and Kali. And I knew then that I didn't want to have anything to do with Kali because I was scared of her. She was all about destruction. And my concept, and by this time, I was still, very wrapped up in Christianity, and it just seemed so weird to me. And but I was definitely afraid to have any kind of connection or anything with Kali. So my ex-boyfriend and I, we were in Washington, and because that's where he was living, and we were somewhere, we were out sightseeing. He had me all over the place, and we were at the Smithsonian, around the Smithsonian Museum, out at this park, and there's these people. They're dressed in these long, red robes and shaved heads, and they're passing out little poppy flowers or whatever. And I started talking to one of them, and he's, it turns out they're Hindu, and we started talking about Hinduism, and I shared with him a little bit that I knew, and he said, oh, out of all the people that I talked to, you seem to be very knowledgeable about Hinduism. And I said, well, I have thought about going, studying Hindu or converting to Hindu, but then I got wrapped up into Christianity, but I do study, world religions. And he invited me to their temple, because they were going to have like a gathering at the temple that night. And oh, I wanted to go so bad, so bad. And when I went back to my boyfriend, who had like left us, went wandering off somewhere, and when I went back to him and told him about this meeting, you know, he didn't want to go, and he didn't want to take me either, and so I didn't get to go. But anyway, so I never really thought much more about it, and then years later I married a Christian man and just really got into Christianity. And then when I got divorced, I left the church, and it was open to all religions. It was all great. And it wasn't so much religions that I was open to. I was open to all things of spiritual nature. Still, never thought much about Kali or Vishnu. Never thought about them. Well, about a month ago, no, it was longer than a month ago. It was about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. I got this friend. Her name is Suzanne. Suzanne lives in Beaufort. And Suzanne has a mom that I used to take care of. So I've known Suzanne for a long, long time. And she had a real sweet mom. And I used to go and clean her mom's house every other Thursday. She paid me $60. The sweetest lady. But anyway, I see Suzanne pop up on Facebook and everything every now and again. Well, about 2.5 months ago or so, she posted something that she's trying to get her certification in doing Shankara readings. Shankara readings. And she needed volunteers because she had to have so many readings done in order to get her certification. I was like, yeah, I'm game. I haven't had anybody read for me in a while, so, I'm very selective. I don't just let anybody read for me. But I'm cool, Suzanne's cool, so I was like, yeah. And so I made an appointment with her, and me and my friend, Cynthia, and her daughter, Mandy, we all went to Beaufort. Mandy drove. She did a great job driving, because I'm afraid to ride in the car with other people most of the time. But it was all good. And but the day before we went up there, well, let me back up. The reading was to be on a Sunday, so about Wednesday, prior to the reading, so about 5 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, about 4 or 5 days before the reading, I started like consciously opening myself up to what this reading was going to be. I mean, I was like putting it out with the universe. So I opened my third eye and let me like really take in what I need to get out of this reading. Okay. So by Saturday morning, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I got up to go to the bathroom. I'm, I got to sleep. And all of a sudden, I had Vishnu and Kali just like cross my mind. It was real quick, but they crossed my mind. And I like woke up even more, and I thought, that's really weird. I haven't thought about Vishnu or Kali since college. And that was just weird. So I didn't think anything more about it. Well, so I didn't know what a Kanchara reading was. I thought it was just, like a special kind of tarot. So we get to Suzanne's place out in Beaufort, and she greeted us very warmly. She's a very lovely lady, and took us into this room, and it was a board, like a board game, like Monopoly. And I remember thinking, what the fuck is this, and just let me also say that Shankara readings, the person who developed these readings, it is based on Hindu Sanskrit. It's based all around that, and I wasn't making the connection. So I sat down, and my friend Cynthia had her reading, and it was all good. It came, and she had these. I compare it to like a Monopoly game, but she had these dice that looked like they were oval like, and they had these gold symbols, inscriptions, and things on it. It like runes, is what it looked like. And you had to pick two of them, and you threw them on the board. And in mine, there was, at every corner of the board, there was a Hindu god or goddess. And so there was, on one corner, there was Vishnu, on the other corner, there was Kali. Well, when I threw the dice ended up on Vishnu and Kali, more on Kali. And so my reading was based around Kali. And I didn't think any more about it. Whenever you get a tarot reading or any kind of reading, it's one of those things where you just gotta let it absorb and sink in, and you may not really get it until a couple of days later or whatever. So I just walked away. Well, about a week later, Noah is telling me that there is a new dispensary, because Noah likes to, smoke a little, and he likes those gummies, and so we went to this new dispensary, and the guy, it's a real nice dispensary, very nice, here off of 61. I want to say it's called Arcana, or Arcana, something like that. Real nice. And the weed they have, you can smell it out the door. It's how fresh it is. So I wasn't going to get anything, but the guy was offering free gummies, and he had jars of these gummies. There were CBD, and then the Delta 9, the THC. He had a gummy, it was called the Galaxy. I said, oh, what is that? He said, well, you got to be real careful with this, because it is very, very potent. I was like, okay. And he told me it had Delta 9 and everything that is connected to pot was in this. I was like, okay. So I came home, and I kid you not, a little tiny slither of it. I was stoned for almost 24 hours. Actually scared me. My friend Adrienne laughed the next day when I told her about it. She said, oh, you had a green day. She thought that was funny. Well, first of all, it made me dizzy. So all I could do was lay in bed. And while I was laying in bed, if I opened my eyes, I would get dizzy. And so I kept my eyes closed, and I would drift in and out of sleep. And as I was drifting into sleep, Callie would come to me. Yeah, I'm stoned. I'm really fucked up here. But Callie would come to me, and she would tell me these things that was going on in my life, that I needed a change. And I remember telling her, how in the world am I going to remember all of this? She said, don't worry, I'll remind you. And I also saw a past life, how I died. So, this, I still have the Galaxy, and I don't intend to take it anytime soon, but it's there in case I need it. So, it's like, okay. Well, when I had that incident with Noah, breaking the dishes, it was like, oh, Callie, change, just change. But so later, a couple of weeks later, maybe about 3 weeks later, I had a dream. And whenever you dream about a house, you dream about yourself. And I had a dream that I was in this neighborhood, and it was like a third world country where a war had gone through, like a war zone. There were houses and buildings that was just torn down, and the streets were just full of debris from torn down houses. And I ended up in this one house where this man was mad with his wife, and so he was going to blow the house up. He was putting all these chemicals together to blow the house up. And the house, and I'm sitting there watching, and the house, he pumped something, and it kind of blew up. It didn't blow the whole house down, but it caught a little fire, and some things came crashing down. And I couldn't understand what that meant. And as soon as I woke up, I realized what that dream meant. That was Callie. And what she was telling me was that I needed to tear my house down. I need to get rid of some shit that I've been hanging on to for a really long time. And that's what Callie's about. And I began to have a completely different respect and love for her, appreciation. Yes, she is a goddess of destruction. She destroys what is not good so that you can rebuild from that to something that is good. And so that is what she was trying to show me, was that there are things, shit, that I've been hanging on to for so long that I need to get rid of. And all these things that I've been manifesting for myself, they're not going to happen until I release some of this shit. I need to tear the whole fucking house down and start rebuilding again. And that's exactly what she was trying to help me with. And I was like, oh my God, now I get it. Now I get why she's so much in my life right now. I mean, it's like everywhere I turn, Callie somehow shows up. And at first I was deathly afraid of her. Now I am not. So it's all good, I mean, it really is. It's all good stuff. Scary as fuck, but I know that it's all going to be good because she has assured me, if you do these things, then all the things that you have been manifesting all your life, all the blockages that you have been creating in your life will go away, and you'll be able to have what you want. So, thank you to my friend Suzanne for doing that session with me. There's been twice that I've had a massive spiritual awakening. And the first one was in 2011. And then the second one was this one with my friend Suzanne. So I'm just going to give a little pump to Suzanne, a little shout out. If you're interested in working with her and having one of these Shankara readings done, you can go at the bottom of where I have in the description box, and it will give you her website address. Very, very lovely lady, and just has such a beautiful, compassionate heart. But that it was such an amazing reading for me, and I'm still, like I said, Callie is just showing up everywhere. I mean, I had a dream the other day about a house again. So my friend Cynthia, she said, "You sure are dreaming a lot about houses lately." Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because this is Callie's way of connecting with me and showing me of what needs to be torn down. That you're tearing down the house. That's what it's all about, tearing down the house. So I ask you, what in your house do you need to tear down? Maybe there's some things that, you're manifesting and you can't get to it because there's things in your house that need to be destroyed. So think about it. And if you want any help in clearing out some of those blockages, let me know. If you live here in Charleston, South Carolina, I can help you with that big time. But if you want a reading, you can get a reading with me as well. I have all my information in the description box. And I know this took a little longer than what I had planned, because usually I try to do my messages like in 15 minutes. So I know it was double the time. But it was important for me to tell you this story. And I hope that you got something out of it. And I will see you tomorrow. I actually have a client that's on her way, so I gotta go so I can go help this client clear out some blockages. So it was good to talk to you, and y'all have a very magical day. Bye-bye.